Hey everyone, it's 2025, and should you be buying collector product? Let's find out. All right, brand new year, lots of magic product coming down the pipeline, and we've got to get into whether or not it's worth it to buy collector boosters, collector booster boxes, any type of collector product in general this year. What we're going to do, let's take a look at 2024, the whole year, see how that collector product did, and whether or not it makes sense for us to be doing and purchasing that stuff come 2025. We had a lot of collector product come out last year. We had, I think, 9 total, 10 if you count the Modern Horizons Commanders decks, but they did really, really bad, so maybe we just won't count those. But in terms of collector booster boxes, we had 9 products that came out. Every single set that came out, from Ravnica Remastered all the way down to Foundations, had a collector product. And notably, the Universes Beyond Fallout also had just a collector's product. They didn't have any play boosters or anything like that. They just had the decks and collector boxes. So how did that product fare? How did we end up at the end of the year? Obviously, some of this stuff is still very fresh, like Duskmourn and Foundations. Those collector products just came out basically at the end of 2024, but we're still going to look in and try and get a sense of whether or not it makes sense for us to engage with it come this year. So I put together this little table. It's basically every single collector product that came out this year, what it released for price-wise, and the current price, and then how much money you could make if you were to sell it right now, percent-wise and by dollar amount. If you can see, the Fallout product did amazingly. Currently selling for about $750, even though it had a high, steep asking price of $380. Wow, that is a lot of profit if you actually went in on this. Next up, we've got Ravnica Remastered coming in at $375. As poorly received as that set was, I think that may actually be indicative of why the current price is going for $375. After that, we've got Foundations that's going for $400, which is huge for a set that's essentially just a core set, and that's going to be reprinted into oblivion for the next 5 years. Obviously, that only pertains to the play boosters. The collector boosters only had the one run, and probably that's why it is so high, among other factors. But we'll get into that. Next after that, we have Bloomburrow, and then once we get to Murders, Duskmourn, Modern Horizons, these are actually not really worth it to get it. $20 profit off Murders isn't really gonna, once you're paying for shipping and handling and stuff, you're basically breaking even, so that's probably not super worth it right now. That would have to be a really, really long-term play if you wanted to hold on to Murders. So let's talk about why some of these are performing what seem to be significantly better than their other counterparts here. We had Fallout, hugely popular. While it wasn't super hyped up in the Magic community, Fallout is a very, very popular franchise, so people were just buying this that came from outside of our sphere when it came to this. And that's why the deck sold pretty well as since this was the only product that you could buy just boosters of, that's why this sold really well too. When it comes to Ravnica Remastered, this had really good reprints in it, but the hype just wasn't there. No one was a fan of this. Everyone was kind of like pretty when it came to Ravnica Remastered. And I think that, coupled with the fact that it does just have good staples in it, means that this will be a set that kind of goes slowly up as time goes on. The only other counterpart we have to that really in terms of how it did was Dominaria Remastered, and that's actually not doing that well in terms of it's holding price, it's holding pretty steady, but it's not like exploding. So if you're holding Dominaria Remastered, it's still pretty even. And that's because the hype for that set was actually pretty in line. People were very excited for Dominaria Remastered, especially when it's coming off Baldur's Gate, which people were not excited for. So when this set came out, that had really, really good reprints, really strong staples in it, people bought up a bunch of Dominaria Remastered. So that set is actually just holding kind of flat when it comes to the collector boosters. Then we have Foundations, and Foundations, they decided to put some weeb anime art into only the collector boosters, and they put it on some staple cards that everyone puts in their decks, stuff that hits that nostalgia beat really hard. Land of War Elves alone is going for several $100s, so you can see why these collector boxes are up there. The hype was very real, and these kind of just took off right from the get-go. After that, we got Bloomburrow. This one also, I think the hype was there. Everyone was super excited for Bloomburrow, and I think because so many people came into Magic because of Bloomburrow. That's why we've got collector boosters actually way up high on this one. Where, when the set maybe it's not that powerful, it's definitely banking on the cuteness factor more than it is, oh yeah, these cards are going to be staples in every format from now until the end of time. It's definitely just cute animals, brought a ton of people into the game, and that's why this collector booster is sitting higher than we would typically see for a standard set. And then we've got the standard set. So let's talk Murders, Duskmourn, Outlaws. All these sets, standard sets, this is kind of what we'd expect to see, really, when looking at collector boosters. Hype is medium, cards are solid, but there's nothing really in here that's really pulling people in. Nothing that people are getting super excited about that they really want to buy. So that's kind of why we see them just being flat. Now, will this go up over time? Maybe the Duskmourn one, Murders is slowly creeping up there just because no one bought this, so I think the supply of this is just a bit lower. But I would say, when it comes to hype, that's definitely a big factor when you're trying to assess whether or not this is something you want to get in on. Then we've got Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed is kind of in the same boat as Fallout, but I think there's a couple key differences here as to why this one is actually underperforming by quite a lot, whereas Fallout's actually doing really well. And the reasons are, we didn't get any commander decks for Assassin's Creed. This was another straight to modern set. Instead of just being a commander, being a casual marketing thing, Assassin's Creed actually went kind of more towards the competitive side of Magic, which really doesn't care about what the IP is. They're just looking for whether cards are powerful or not. And nothing in Assassin's Creed really broke into modern in any meaningful way. There's some equipment that people really like putting in their commander decks, but that's about it. There's not and then the one red commander that's kind of like Slicer 2.0. But aside that, there's not a ton of cards that are seeing play out of Assassin's Creed, whereas the Fallout just had commander decks, right? And those are some of the biggest movers when it comes to sealed product. It's just commander decks. So Fallout having only commander decks and only having collector boosters, I think, is what helped propel that and sell that to the outside of the MTG sphere, whereas Assassin's Creed had Beyond boosters and was more marketed towards the inside of MTG sphere. So we didn't get all those outside people coming in and clamoring to snag up all that Assassin's Creed stuff. Finally, we've got Modern Horizons 3. This set was super hyped right from the get-go, and they knew it. MH2 was the most sold set of all time before Lord of the Rings came out, so they were primed and ready with the printing run. They just had tons and tons of product ready and rearing to go, so that's why we're seeing the release price and the current price is kind of holding steady for Modern Horizons 3 for the collector stuff. Modern Horizons 3 is basically operating as Modern Horizons 2 is, which came out in 2021 and is still essentially flat for the collector boosters. I think it was selling for $380 at launch, and it's about the same right now. Similarly, we're seeing right now Modern Horizons 3, $390, current price is $392. Yeah, it's basically holding flat. This isn't really something that I would put any money in. Because it's just going to hold flat, and if it's holding flat and inflation's going up, your money's going down. So you want to put your money in stuff, if that's what you're looking to do, you want to put it in stuff that's going to go up. So what does that all mean for collector product come 2025? What do I think are things to look out for, and what am I potentially going to be putting my money in? Typically, I don't really buy collector product, but I think maybe I'm targeting a couple of these releases. We're putting Universes Beyond into standard, which means that we're going to be getting commander decks with all of this stuff as well. And I think that the Universes Beyond is where I may be targeting collector booster product when this stuff comes out in 2025. Notably, we've got Final Fantasy coming up. I'm a huge Final Fantasy nerd, especially if we have serialized cards in the Final Fantasy stuff. I think that might be worthwhile. Obviously, we'll do breakdowns when we get to it. But just in kind of game planning for the year, I'm thinking collector product in Final Fantasy, I'm thinking collector product in Spider-Man, and then we have collector product in the continue to be unknown Universes Beyond stuff that's coming out at the end of the year. There's been some speculation that it's Avatar: The Last Airbender, which I personally would be super hyped for, but we don't know what it is right now. I'd say that those 3 sets are what I'd be looking at in terms of collector product. In terms of Aether Drift, the hype is not, I'm not really looking at collector product for Aether Drift unless there's some really banger reprints that they're putting into it. I don't think Aether Drift collector boosters is going to be where the smart money is. We'll find out. But, that's just kind of what I'm banking on. Innistrad Remastered, they've been showing off some cards here and there. Some of the poster stuff looks great. You can only get the foil retros and the collector boosters. I don't know if that's enough for us to really want to put money into the remastered set. We see that Ravnica kind of didn't do so great, and so its collector booster is up. So, if the hype for Innistrad is continues to kind of just be medium, maybe it's worth sinking $250 into and just holding on to it. I mean, the thing for me when it comes to some of this collector product is that if it ends up doing poorly, I can just open it and enjoy it. I personally hate Innistrad with a passion. I don't like going to this plane. I think werewolves are stupid. So, even if I thought Innistrad Remastered was like a great buy, I still wouldn't be picking it up just because I hate this stinking set. Edge of Eternities, we don't really know anything about. We know it's a space set, but yeah, we're far enough away from that for there to be any real hype. And then the final thing that we do know about is Tarkir Dragonstorm. The biggest call that people really like to go back to when it comes to Tarkir is that the draft format was really exciting and fun. So, nothing really to me screams collectible in that, just, a fun draft format, which is a great thing. If they make another awesome Tarkir drafting set, especially because I think there's going to be a Spotlight series around it, that's going to be awesome in its own right. But in terms of just doing collector product, I'm looking at Final Fantasy, I'm looking at Spider-Man, I'm looking at whatever that unknown one at the end of the year is. Anyways, I hope these numbers helped. I hope it shed some light on what we're doing. We're really close to 1,000 subscribers, which is super exciting for me. I'm glad all of you are here and watching, and I appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.